Guys, welcome back. It's been a little bit, and welcome back to Bar Shifts and Bullshit. I'm your host, Jay Bird, here with the lovely Lily Lavender. Today we're going to talk about morale in the workplace and taking the good in with the bad. And we're going to discuss why this is important, especially this time of year. Tips are a little bit slow, business is slow, and we're kind of out of our, we're out of season. So we're going to discuss a couple of different things that kind of help change morale in the workplace and why this is important.
So you're actually pretty good at this one because you joke around with people, play around with them. Flirting comes to mind. That's a really good one.
For me, it's not, everybody looks at this as a job, and it is a job. This is how you pay your bills. This is how you get ahead. For me, if I can go into a workplace having a good time, all of a sudden it's not work, especially on slow days and you get plenty of time to dick off and whatever. I think it's important to change the morale of the day. If you can get people in the right demeanor, because it's slow, people are miserable, people aren't tipping as much as they should be tipping. So you got to find different ways to either entertain yourself or kind of figure out a good happy medium to make your day worth having.
Yes, and a really good way is by making people laugh, because when they're laughing, they're having a good time, they're enjoying their surroundings, the ambience, everything, and it changes customers' perspective when they walk in and they see people laughing.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that's infectious. If you see everybody else laughing, you definitely want to be laughing too. It's kind of the same thing as like when you yawn, I yawn. That's a good way to find a psychopath, by the way. If everybody in the room's yawning, then you get that one stoic dude that doesn't do anything. Kind of watch out for that guy. He's a little creepy anyway.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, for me, I'm always goating people. Yeah, well, that's definitely, I flirt a lot and I play around, and that's a good time. If anybody's like me, I don't know if they are or not. That's a good time to run some like random pickup lines that you've never used before. And if it comes off the top of your head and it works, then great. And if it doesn't and you just look dumb, well, I mean, that's part of the fun.
At least you tried.
At least you tried. You can always wake up knowing that you gave it your best shot. Try again. Everybody's different.
So mine is during the winter, I bake. It's just the house smells good. It's warm. The oven's always on, so it's great. So I started baking, and then I started posting it online or on my Snap, and people see it. They're like, oh, can I have some? I want to try that. Is it easy? And then they want your recipe. So I started bringing in to work what I made that day, and it may not be a laugh, but it's a smile, and it's a feel-good smile, so people are enjoying things a little more, especially when they're not making anything in tips.
I'm a huge fan of you baking. Like I got a whole loaf of bread, and it's already about gone. I'm on day 3 of this bread, and I freaking ate it with everything, man.
I've brought 2 loaves of bread to work now. I brought one on Monday and I brought one on Tuesday, and it's all gone.
Hell yeah, man! I love food. I'm a bigger guy. Like you come to the house treating me well like that, man. I'm ready to get married tomorrow.
Oh yes, apparently so are my customers.
Yeah, everybody, you already won the whole congregation. Like you already got everybody else together and freaking ready to wife you up. That's crazy. Which anybody that can cook, man, has got a big win, because I cook in my house. Like finding fresh bread and I don't bake, because that's a tedious thing. Like, anybody that knows me knows I like to saute, I like to grill, I like for stuff to be done as I'm cooking it, and you like to be patient and wait, and I don't do that. I'm not one of those guys. I'm a shoot first and ask questions later kind of guy.
Well, I do either or, because I cook too, and I bring that in also. Although I haven't done that in a while. Well, and brought it into work.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I like to goat people, whatever. I got this buddy at work, and he's a big, how do I say it? He's not fat by any means. He's a sturdy guy. Like you look at him and you know he's fit and all. But he's kind of a bashful guy. So like I'll go up to him, and usually when there's people around, I'll look at him like, "What's up, sugar tits?" Well, I actually do that to a lot of people at work now that I say that out loud. Like I always give people weird nicknames that they get stuck with, and most of the time, like you can tell if they're like really bashful about it, they'll just like shake their head and blush or whatever, or like they'll goat you back. I got another buddy that does the same thing, and we'll goat each other. He'll come up and he'll be like, "What's up, sweet cheeks?" all the time. And we'll do it in front of guests, and they're just like shaken by it, you know. I'm like, it's a weird thing to just randomly call another dude.
It is weird.
Yeah, it is weird, but it's fun. Like it's yeah, which I goat people. Like I'll come by, look real quick, and like stick my thumb up somebody's butt. I do that. I do that shit.
Oh
like,
my god!
Like just to get him. Like I got a buddy that absolutely hates it, and then I got a dude that like he'll joke with you. He'll start laughing. He'll be like, "Oh shit!" It's like about lost a thumb there. but I'll do like a weird noise before I do it. So like over a period of time, like it's learned behavior. So if I make that noise, they'll like clench up and then run away real quick. So yeah. So it's, but a buddy of mine, another buddy of mine does it too. And we got this mutual friend that absolutely freaking hates it, no matter what. So and one day we were terrorizing him. Like I'll do it, and in a couple of seconds he'd come by and do it, and then like this guy would be freaking out. Well, we have a manager who's also a woman that came up and saw this same guy come up and like grabbed his butt with both hands, like grabbed both cheeks, and he jumped and he turned around. He was ready to fight
because he thought it was
he thought it was me. Turned around, and me and my buddy that been goating him the whole time, he just kind of looked at me. And he was like, we were on the ground laughing, and my buddy just the dude that raised his fist up, he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
Oh wow!
And we looked at our manager. We were like, to be fair, like we definitely deserved what was coming. But oh man, we were laughing. Oh, it was a great time. It was a great time. So little pranks like that really keep the day going. He hates it. It makes him miserable for the day, but you know his pain is our gain for sure.
Oh, that reminds me. So Gage, I was telling Gage that he recorded. He had tied one of the servers to one of our new tables behind the bar. Mm-hmm. He tied her to the drawer. And because she was standing there talking to a couple of his customers at the bar. She was standing there behind the bar talking to them. So he went up behind her and he tied her to the drawer. Oh my god. And then he went all the way around the bar by the computer side and he recorded it. And he sent it to me and I was like, oh my god, you have to send that to the owner. She'd get a kick out of it. And he was like, probably. But yeah, pranks like that, little stupid pranks like that, it just boosts everybody's energy and the morale just changes.
I used to, when I worked I used to cook. And I used to make like the salads and desserts and stuff. So naturally I had free access to all the croutons and stuff that was in there. So I used to take like handfuls of croutons and like stuff them in random like essays and servers' pockets. So when they go to greet tables and stuff, they'd pull out their napkin stuff and croutons would fly everywhere. Like, that was like my favorite.
So bad.
Yeah. So like all of a sudden they're greeting tables and like in fine dining you have like a skit. Like you have a thing that you it's pretty much rehearsed by the time you get to tables on how you greet people. So when you throw croutons at everybody, you're kind of at a loss for words. You don't really know what to pick up. Good icebreakers for the tables, especially when things are slow, man. But you want to get a Colombian pissed off, man? They'll fucking coming around with a bunch of croutons everywhere. Like, and there's only one person to blame. Like when it's too late. Yeah, that is always my favorite. But I mean, we had a really, really, really gorgeous Hispanic that used to like get pissed off in the kitchen all the time, and we would egg her on. We'd find her, like we would find reasons. Oh, I love it, man. You want to win my heart over, man? Cuss me out in Spanish. I'm all about it. Like I'm a fan. Like, I know you're mad, but like I'll do a double take. I'm all about it. That stuff. Big fan. But it was like Salma Hayek and The Bodyguard or Bodyguard 2 when she loses her shit. I'm total. I'm all in it. Huge fan of that. So any different ways, little things that just kind of egg people on and have a good time, whatever. Don't go to HR or anything. Don't go crazy. No. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my paperwork. I'm waiting for my buddy to get mad and send me to HR for sexual harassment. Like that's what I'm waiting for. Which I know that looks bad, but I can't wait to tell everybody that there's like this big dude just got mad because like I've been terrorizing him all day long. I'm waiting for that phone call.
I know I would have been sent to HR a long time ago. It's just when I say something offhanded, people don't expect it coming from me.
Well, I don't think everybody expects it out of me now. Like they're just like. But even my pickup lines get real cheesy this time of year because there's so many of them, and I just kind of like throw them out like as hard as I can. You know, there's this chick actually a couple days ago telling me how tired she was, and then she had just like soaked up all the Red Bull and espresso shots. You know, so Like 20 minutes, she comes up 20 minutes after she drinks it all. She was like, "I've got so much energy." She's like, I'm blasting through here." I was like, "Donald, you're going to crash." I was like, "This shit's happening soon." And she was like, "Oh no, it'll be fine." And so she starts sprinting off, and then she comes back about like 30 minutes after all that. And she was like, "All right." She was like, "Lost all my energy." I said, "Yeah, babe," but the fire's still there. And she was like, "Oh my God." Even my buddy was like, "You say some of the dumbest shit." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, sometimes it works. Sometimes it works."
As long as somebody's laughing, it's all that matters.
I try my best. I actually stole this one. You were actually there. I stole this one from somebody, and don't do this to everybody. It's not going to be like well received. Make sure you know your audience. If you're going to use my pickup lines or use my tricks or whatever, be aware of your audience. Make sure you're not going to get in trouble for it, because sometimes sometimes I wonder when I'm going to get that phone call. But I do this thing and where I'll come up to somebody and I'll be like, "Hey, does my cologne smell all right?" And then they'll reach in to smell it, and then I'll just grab and kiss them on the forehead. I actually stole that from a buddy of mine, and that shit works. Like, I'm a big fan of that one. That was a big one. So.
Yeah, we're always finding something, anything, just to pass the time behind the bar on slow seasons. Mm-hmm. And we've got another 2 months of slowness. Wait, you guys have WSOP coming up next month?
So we've got a bunch of different events coming up. We'll have, because I do work in a casino, so we get big events and big concerts. We've got a bunch of concerts and a lot of stand-up comedy coming in too. So our slow season is a roller coaster. Like, this weekend was absolutely nothing. Yeah. But the weekend before, we were crazy busy. So we'll bounce up and down and get annihilated at random times, and it's usually like clockwork. Mm-hmm. Especially throughout the weekday. If you're in the bar, we'll be done for the first 2 hours, 3 hours of the shift, and they expect nothing, and then all of a sudden get annihilated right there at the finish line. Happens every time. And so trying to get that mental, and it's hard for me. It's difficult for me to be like, okay, we're slow. I know it's going to pick up. I need to be ready. Because when you get in that slow pace, you adapt to it, and you're stuck. And for me, I always struggle bouncing it up. Let's kill it.
I'll look for something to do, and for me, there's always something to do. So I'll find something. But lately we've been pressing our juices. Oh, yeah. And it passes the time for me. I can take my time doing it because I know I'm not going to be busy. But they just opened back up the 441, so they may be slightly busy today.
I've been making mocktails and stuff for my cooks, and I ain't going to lie, there's an end game to it. Yeah. I get free food. I get food. If anybody that's listening to this is not supposed to hear this, I make mocktails for my cooks so I can trade for food if I can get it, like good food too. But here lately, I've been making Virgin Sunsets. Yeah. So it's legit tequila sunrise, but it's only there's no vodka or anything in it. It's just grenadine, orange juice, and simple syrup, like a 3 count of simple syrup in it. And so far, my cooks love it. That's one of their favorite mocktails. It's easy to make, and it definitely beats like the cherry limeades and the strawberry lemonades and all this other stuff. Because those take muddled fruit. It takes time, especially like when you're making those mocktails. Yeah, if you got the time to make it, great, because those are the best drinks on the planet. But if you're in a hurry and you got to make like 30 of these bitches, like I'd rather just make something with 3 ingredients, sit it out, and then if you like it, great. Mm-hmm. I'll just keep playing around with that, and that's how I do my pastime. And if you're a new bartender and you're getting into the trade, study your cocktails. This is plenty enough time to experiment, play around. And if you work at a cool establishment, that's all right. Like try make this. If you can sell it, great. If you can't, like at least we know what it tastes like and you know what you're selling.
Or at least know what goes great with something else, like pairing, or what juices go well together. Yeah,
for me, so like I said, I work in fine dining right now, so I've got a buddy that I work with that's great with pairing wines. Mm-hmm. I'm not a wine drinker, so I struggle with this, and I'm trying to learn. We use like taste testings. If you got opportunities to learn how to taste test and reevaluate wines, if you're in fine dining, definitely take advantage of those scenarios, because it's good to know what foods pair up with good wines and stuff. And cocktails are the same thing, but I mean, anybody knows me that knows that I love bourbon, whiskey, and scotch. Those are I like the dark liquors. That's what I usually stick to. So going back and forth with those things, I can tell you exactly what I would drink in these scenarios, but wine is just not my forte. So I have a buddy over here that does great stuff with pairing wines, and I usually send him in. But it's good to have that knowledge back and forth, and being able to do trade secrets with those kind of things. The more you learn, the better bartender you're going to be. And that's just a long story short.
Definitely.
Best bartender and the best bartenders are, those 20-year veterans that have experimented with their cocktails and have taken the time to learn things. You can bartend for 20 years and be one of the worst bartenders. And I've seen them. I've seen bartenders that have been doing this shit for 20 plus years and they're just not good at it. Yeah. And it's because they don't take the time to learn and experiment and play around with their cocktails. And I think all of that is important. Know your craft, know your product. The more you know about what you're selling, the better off you're going to be. And that's true for any profession, like especially like where you're building something. If you're cooking, great. If you're making cocktails, even better. The more you know, the better off you're going to be.
Definitely. Well, and that's how I got my idea for that chocolate pudding shot. Because Sunday, I was telling our host that I was going to go home and make Jell-O shots because I had a bunch of gelatin laying around and I was going to make it from scratch. And I was like, wait a second, it's winter and everybody loves chocolate. I was like, I'm going to make chocolate pudding. So I started playing around with it, and then I've been going into work, starting the chocolate pudding on the stove, and then like everybody's been eating it afterwards. But I ended up making that chocolate pudding shot, and it's just chocolate pudding with Bailey's, vanilla vodka, and the chocolate liqueur. It's so good. It is so good. But I made it as a shooter. So you know how blowjobs, you put the whipped cream on the top? Mm-hmm. I did that too. And it's delicious. So I've had, the first day that I made it on Monday, I had 5 sets of people ask me to make them. So did that, and then I made it yesterday, and I had more people asking me to make that also. But it's fun because at the end of it all my coworkers get to eat the chocolate pudding, and it's made from scratch because I made it right there in the kitchen, and they fucking loved it.
Nothing like licking the spoon.
I know.
I see grown ass men getting so excited to lick the bowl at the finish line.
Yes, it's hilarious. I'm like, oh my god. So I would go and pass the whisk around. I'm like, take your finger and just scoop it.
Yeah, and then you got that one asshole that just takes his tongue and just licks the whole thing. Yeah, oh, I do that shit. Like, I'm all about it.
But it's just things to pass the time and just, change people's outlook on the day, knowing full well we're going to be slow. It's fun. Have fun with it.
And we're in the heat of the sports season, too. Like, playoffs are coming into play. Everybody's losing their mind about football right now, which is great. And if you can keep up with the stats and stuff. Me, I haven't had time to, like, really sit down and watch games like I used to. So I'm kind of outdated with this information, which I know would help me, especially with conversations, keeping up with the times and all this stuff. And if you're good with this stuff, great. If you're on fantasy leagues and all this stuff, this is going to do nothing but help you with conversations. Yeah. And this is kind of like this is a turning point for me, is because I haven't been keeping up like I usually do. And so like I said, if you're doing fantasy leagues, keeping up with the sports and all this stuff, and I'll try to stay away from politics as much as possible. But if you know what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. If you keep up with things or whatever, and but politics, religion, one of those things are usually a good go-to to stay away from.
Well, one of the biggest topics at my bar lately for the past couple days, because I've had the same sets of people coming in for the past couple days, is relationships. Yeah. And it's hilarious because it can be either about staying single or dating, or as simple as going to the movies alone.
Well, and I can talk about relationships all day long because well, I mean, anybody knows me, my relationships is just a fucking big ass roller coaster. There's no telling what I'm going to be into. Yeah, there's a different point of view on all of it. Yeah. Nobody knows the right answer, or they would be in a 50-year marriage. And like, even the ones that's been in 50-year marriages don't work this day and time. No. Like, it really don't. So relationship is a good topic. I don't think that really hurts people because that's a perspective thing. Any way you slice it, it's not like
But like everybody at the bar has a different perspective on relationships, so it's kind of good to get them all talking together.
Oh, absolutely. And seeing everybody else's point of view really kind of enter the mind of several different kinds of people, and I think that's great. And that's kind of one of those things that can hit every age group, yes, from your teens all the way up into your 50s and 60s, because yeah, you can see people with different outlooks and all that stuff, but times are changing. So obviously the things that used to work in 1932 doesn't work.
And that was basically like the groups that I had yesterday. It ranged from, God, how old was the youngest? 26 all the way to 62. That was my whole set of the bar.
Yeah. So
and we all talked about the relationships.
And everybody's got the answer, man. Which I don't. I'm still just trying to figure shit out. So I don't do the relationship thing. I'd rather practice and just go on with my day. But yeah, that's definitely a strong topic. Anything with 1,000 different point of views on which and where it can be answered where nobody gets hurt in the conversation, because. Not to get too political, but a lot of sensitive people out there, so you got to be careful with the way you slice into things. And relationships is a good one. I like talking about relationships because I can find easy outs. Yes. Yeah, it's a good way to, and like you can throw in your jokes and quips right there, and it's a good way to get out of conversations if things start to get really uncomfortable. Well, for me, I usually can kind of spin it. My favorite thing is, especially like if I'm serving in fine dining, we'll get things like anniversaries and birthdays and all that stuff. So if somebody comes up to me with a 50-year anniversary or even a 10-year anniversary, I'll laugh and be like, well, congratulations, guys. I was like, that's lasted well before, well longer than both my marriages. And they'll just kind of look at me and they'll be like, oh, either they'll have a conversation with me about it or they'll just be like, damn, like, well, we're doing good, you know? Yeah. They'll take it as a win or they'll give me advice. Oh, Either way, you kind of end up with a smile. My pain is their gain, so it works out great.
It does. But what's the other one? We have people that I work with that bust out singing to different songs that they hear that's playing, or you'll have, oh God, like our hostess, she loves to dance. Oh, yeah. She's constantly dancing.
Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm kind of jealous, because fine dining, it's the same classical music no matter what. And I'll put in my earbuds and try to listen to my own stuff to try to pass time and get through it. But at the same time, once service starts, I'm not even allowed to have them in. Yeah. So same old music, same. I'm jealous on that front.
We do get a lot of customers that tell us when they come in, we've never seen happier people to be working in the same place than here.
That does bring people back too. Anybody that, like, if you're miserable all the time, nobody likes the Eeyore status where, you know, everybody's mopey, miserable, and like, oh, I ain't gonna make a good tip today. Man, have fun, and that really sets the mood. People mimic what they see. If you're happy, they're happy. If you're yawning, they're yawning. So and I definitely am one of the ones that practice what you preach. I have my bad days too. Any way you can flip the mood and change it for the better, you're going to do better. That's like right. Even if you have bad tips, like yesterday was actually a good example. I did not. My first few tables made made nothing, but I started having a good time playing around with my guests when I had more time to give. And I didn't make great tips last night, but I did do well. You know, in comparison to how the night could have kept on going. So demeanor means everything. If you can keep everybody in a good mood, that's fantastic. That's great. But I mean, that all comes down to you. If you can switch it around, I hate to put all the pressure on you guys, but if you can change the demeanor of your table and swing it, just make it work.
Yeah, but it all boils down to the morale of the workplace. So whatever the morale or the energy in the room is at that time is what your customers are feeding off of.
Yeah, my thing is like, if I can, because I'm gonna say it like this, it's gonna come out wrong, but you got to follow me on this. Women have a large amount of emotions, I've found. Yes. Like, and they show it well. Very much. So my thing is if these women are having a bad day, and dudes too, like, it's easier to flip a dude though. You just say something corny and it's flipped. But Lily tells me all the time that I flirt all the time. There's a reason behind it, like, not just for me to throw out lines because it's fun and makes me laugh. But if I have servers that are absolutely having a bad day, 9 times out of 10, if they're having a bad day and I throw a corny pickup line, it does change demeanor.
It does.
Like it does make them forget why they're pissed off. And and even then, if I'm still able to do that, like if their table or the people there at the serving absolutely made them miserable and you can't shake it, it makes them lighten their mood.
It does.
Maybe not a full flip, but anything that just makes it easier for them to breathe when they go to the table. It does make their day easier, and I am all about making somebody blush. Nothing makes me happier if like I can see them laughing. They're like, "What the hell did you just say? I can't believe you just said that."
And
like,
I mean, the general population, like the one thing that's going to change their mood is to feel wanted.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody wants to feel wanted.
Yeah.
That's just human nature, and you kind of throw that. And people give me hell all the time that I flirt with everybody. It's like, "Oh, you say that to all the women." And like I'll say my quips or whatever. I'll be like, "No, I'm just practicing for you, baby." Like I do all that. Like I say that a lot. I ain't gonna lie to you. But at the same time, even though they know that you're giving off like a persona that they get something to enjoy within their day. Everybody wants to feel wanted, and everybody wants to feel better than what they're feeling at that time. That's human nature.
And at the same time, they want to laugh.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is when my son. He was barely walking, and we would have and I ain't gonna lie. I understand why I'm divorced twice, but like my second ex-wife used to get pissed off all the time because like we would have waitresses that would come up and they'd just be miserable, and I'd look at my son and I'd be like, "Hey man," I was like, "Wink at that waitress." I was like, "She looks like she's having a bad day. Wink at her and tell her she's pretty." and there's nothing that melts any woman out there more than a toddler coming out and just be and winking and just be like, "You're so pretty," and they'd melt every day. Like I said, I understand why I'm divorced. My second ex-wife used to hate that shit, but it would bring on some laughs and usually brings their day a whole lot better. So little things like that is what I've learned in life, and honestly, that's the same stuff that my dad used to teach me when I was a kid. It's just what we do. Can't help it. It's human nature.
All right, y'all. So we're going to end this here because I gotta go. But we do have Sugar Tits asking when we're gonna do that episode, the special episode with like 7 people.
Stay tuned for this next episode. We're going to put it together as soon as we can. It's going to be Battle of the Exes. We've been doing women's point of view on how to pick up game, and men's point of view on pickup game, and then more on how those conversations went. So we're going to get all of these people together for this big episode. So stay tuned for the next one.
Until next time.
Thank you so much, guys.